Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is our final cooking class for the Power of Food seminar, and we have some fun things for you guys today. Some just different international type of treats and whatnot. And I'm just going to get started because a little later. So the first thing I'm going to do is it's similar to a pressed salad. Whoa. I'm gonna move over. I can't see. It's like blinded by the sunlight. Yeah, it was like really. I'm gonna do a cabbage. The first time I had something like this was in an Italian restaurant in South Philly, but the chef there was from Puglia. Like down by like the heel of the boot. And he used to have like, you'd come in and there was like a case and they had all kinds of different like vegetable type things, like sauteed mushrooms, like sometimes very, very thin sliced zucchini or eggplant and roasted peppers. But my favorite thing, or I should say our favorite thing there, and then the kids liked it, was this cabbage slaw. And they probably cut that on the mandolin. We cut this by hand. It's a little bit thicker than maybe normal, but only because this particular cabbage was a very thick, heavy cabbage. So sometimes you can't get them as thin, but ideally when you're picking out a round green cabbage or purple cabbage or anything round for that matter, you want to try to choose something that's heavy. So that's going to be a vegetable that has a lot more vitality to it. But then when you get that, then you get like these, kind of like pieces that are a lot crunchier. So a lot of people that would make Pennsylvania Dutch style sauerkraut, my grandmother always said, you don't really do that until October because it sits in a crock for several months. And usually like outdoors in a closet in like a darker place or something like that. So, but that it's these like thicker style cabbages where sometimes like in other months you'll get a cabbage that is very lightweight and you pull it in, and when you see it like the little layers, it's more loose. This one was like super tight when you cut into it, so it's just a stronger type of thing. My favorite ingredients. So use this as well. So obviously they're not using this Japanese savory ume vinegar in Italy, or maybe. Lasana Gola or Golasana, not in school. And we're going to take and add salt. So this is similar to the way you would do a pressed salad. You can get away with a little bit more salt here for two reasons. One, it's head cabbage. And two, I'm going to add some olive oil to it. I have no idea how they made it. I know olive oil was in it and it may have been finished with olive oil, but this is the way I make it and this is the way I like it. And this is the way my family likes it when I make it for them. So this is the way we're gonna do it. Just like that. Then when you go to do this, so normally when I do anything pressed, we don't really do like a whole lot of pressed salads anymore. I don't show that a lot in cooking classes because it's not necessarily a good dish, but so many people would do it and it would just be either too salty because they didn't really bother like mixing it enough, or it just like wouldn't be done very well. So we feel like more recently that people get more out of blanching salads or fresh salads. It's just a little bit lighter and a little bit, like juicier. But this is kind of something in between, just like the cucumber salad that I did the other day where we didn't actually put a plate on and a weight. Because of the quantity here, if ideally we wanted to weight this a little bit, we can do that. Can get away with this because of just like the texture of the cabbage itself, that you're not gonna make the dish, like necessarily like a yang kind of dish. And I know too, like back in the day, people would like, you don't ever do a pickle press. Back in the day, a road piece. We would, people would like press for like 3 hours, or like, I know people that press for like a couple days, which is like crazy nuts. That's not what you do. Certain things would technically press in a very short time. So when you do this, this is actually, it begins what we call the fermentation process, but it's not going to be fermented because we're not going to pickle it or anything like that. But the combination of adding a little bit of salt to this, and then just a drop of vinegar. I don't really recommend pressing in a vinegar because I think that gets more pickled. A lot of teachers I know have been teaching that over the years, but that I think is one of the ways where like extra salt creeps in. So I always just like press in sea salt with this exception. The salt contracts the vegetable together with the friction. See, now I don't even have to like woman handle it so much. I can just like roll it between my fingers. Breaks down like the fiber quality, and then it starts to release some of its own juice. So I'm sure this is being captured greatly on film here, how it almost begins to look like, you know, like you've, this one's doing that too, like that it's a sauteed vegetable dish. And the fact that there's a little bit of oil in there. So this brings out a little bit of richness. And allows this dish to keep a little bit longer in the refrigerator. This is kind of like one of those dishes that I make for my parents too, because they absolutely love it. Pennsylvania Dutch cooking uses a whole lot of cabbages in many different ways. And you know, like this is just like a healthy thing. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Sometimes, like, some older people I know just like don't like make like light vegetable dishes as much. I don't know if your dad does that, but like they'll skip the light vegetable dishes. Yes, yeah, but so they'll like, you know, forget about the blanching, forget about the steaming. They'll saute something, but you know, they're just not going there. They'll eat a fresh salad, or slice up a fresh tomato and onions and like vinegar it and make it all pretty and whatnot. It's kind of funny. So this is just like a little bit lighter, and they get like, you know, like the crunch in there. And then before serving, we'll add like a little bit of fresh squeezed lemon juice on here. So the whole idea is, it's just, it's just a cabbage salad.
Okay.
I do this also for holiday dinners because, again, you know, a lot of people like coleslaw, which is fantastic, but it's usually like, you know, has a ton of mayonnaise and crappy weirdo stuff in here. So I have a recipe that you can make a tahini dressing, or I have a recipe in the book for mayonnaise that I kind of like was looking at vegan mayonnaise things, and then I kind of came up with my own version of it, and it's made with chickpeas and olive oil, because chickpeas kind of like gel a little bit. It's done like in a food processor or a blender, but that will actually keep. It makes a lot of jars, and that will like keep for like a month or two. So you can make that, you know, like give some away, but you can cut a little carrot in here, or some red onion, or like radish or celery, and make your own, you know, like mayonnaise like that for people who actually like, you know, like they want that creamy texture of coleslaw too. So I do things like that.
Could you
at
grate
the holidays?
carrot in, or?
You could grate the carrot, but it's going to look better. No, Pennsylvania German coleslaw doesn't. It's usually just like cabbage, maybe a little celery, and maybe like some onions. But some other coleslaws I know might have like little carrots. I usually just like really finely matchstick it and do like feathery pieces. One time, I tried using the food processor, but you know, it didn't taste the same.
Wow.
It looked more like what they would call pepper cabbage, which that's like a sweet and sour thing in Pennsylvania Dutch, and it's not coleslaw looks like this, where pepper cabbage is more almost like that, like minced type of thing.
Did you ever go to the Akron Diner when you were growing up?
My parents really like didn't go to like too many diners. We didn't go out like a whole lot. They liked eating at home. I was fortunate. I had a family that actually cooked, so that's probably why I'm not like opposed to taking time and making things from scratch and everything. My grandparents cooked really well. Both my parents cooked well. So. I think I'm gonna need a little bit more. Can someone grab and put just another little smidge of salt in here? I don't wanna reach in. I could, if I were home, I would just, no. You can put in more than that. And another one, please. There we go.
So how do you know it needs more salt? You didn't taste it.
I just think
You
it
don't
might.
feel?
I mean, you can taste it. Like if I was doing this quantity at home, I probably would taste it. But you know, like I'm not. And you could also even dress it with a little bit of umeboshi vinegar and lemon too, if it doesn't, you know, have enough. But the whole idea, I mean, this is really, as it sits, it will continue to just like this is, it stays like this. I think because of the little oil. So at home, you only need like a little, like a couple drops of oil. You don't need like a whole lot. Where, you know, like keep in mind when I'm doing this and I'm doing this for a group and we're gonna actually like eat this tonight. There's an advantage. You can see how you can make something for a larger group, but the disadvantage is that you'd never be using these quantities, you know, like at home for the most part. This would be, although like I said, this does keep, you know, for several days. I've had it that it kept for like a whole lot of days, like way longer than pressed salad, where pressed salad tends to get dry over time. So I just think that, you know, I don't know, things like pop into my head sometimes when I'm doing things, and you know, like I try to get creative. I've cooked for another friend, they're filmmakers, and they live all outside of, you know, like LA. And I used to go teach their parents down in Cape May. And I would cook for them from time to time, like, because they would be really strict macrobiotic, you know, and really practice, like, when I say strict, I mean be very accurate and careful. Their father cured himself of vocal cord cancer, and he was able to yodel again. Then they would just like start going to the diners and start going to different places and, you know, eat kind of like junk, get in trouble. And then she'd be like, can you go down and like check on my parents and cook for them again for a while? So, you know, like that's what we do. And then the last couple of years, our parents were like pretty up there in age, before they passed and transitioned. And I was helping her dad was in the hospital, and the doctor was like, no, he's in congestive heart failure. And I was just like, I don't think so. You know, like he has got like fluid. Well, I brought him different home remedies, like it was like fresh lotus root tea, and like made different special miso soups for him and whatnot. And he was better and was discharged in a day. And then he went home and he's fine for a bit, but still like trying to like regain his strength. And he kind of wasn't completely the same after that as far as like peppiness, but still he definitely lived another like couple of years after that. And I went down again, but like you just get creative of different things that you can do, especially if somebody's asking you to cook for enough food for somebody for like a week. That wouldn't be the way I would ideally do that, but it's still better than, you know, not having any good food at all. So you come up with different things. Oh, what's going to work, and what would they like? Because like if they don't like it, it's just gonna sit there. They're not gonna eat it. You can't make, you know, people of certain generations do anything they don't want to do. It's just they're strong. So I think this is pretty much ready. So it really shrinks down in size a lot, then kind of fluff. So I use the same concept here. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just put a plate over top of it and let the plate sit there for a bit. Or I'll just like put a weight on it for like maybe just like a half an hour. So it's just like much less pressure, much less, you know, like weight. I think just more rich and just a new kind of like gentle way of doing things. Just taking a traditional dish from Italy and, you know, like being able to like use that in a healthful way, because we're using good quality organic olive oil here. We're using good quality sea salt. So, you know, a lot of countries, that whole Mediterranean area, just has a whole lot of just really like wonderful dishes. A lot of cultures do. You could take just about anything and just like find ways to, you know, like maybe make it like without meat or make it in a more healthful way. And I think that's like real macrobiotic cooking. So now we'll just like kind of pull it even more in the center. So you can always want to like do this little, like make this little pile in the center. Because as it sits, especially if you have a little bit of weight on there, you'll be pressing more of the liquid out too. So further enhancing that quality of almost fermentation type quality. Not so. See, this fits perfectly on top, just like that. We'll take this off to the side. I guess we will put a little weight on top of it. So you want one of these guys to put on top of it. So that's like the first. So the next thing we'll do is this tofu salad dish. And it starts off very similar to the last dish. I like red onion in it because it's just a nice like pop of color. Oh, I came up with this to take to like baseball games and things. So it's kind of like, I never liked egg salad, and I never liked tuna salad either, but it's something like kind of in, you know, like that vein too. So it wasn't like cooked and it didn't like harden and everything like that. The tofu stays like kind of like more moist, so it will stay on a roll better. You know, so I was like, when I go to baseball games, I would always like take my lunch, but I would take things that weren't too weird, so that I wasn't, you know, like the odd person somewhere else. I think I got a little bit over anxious with telling you how much is to cut. It's okay. We'll just use this in the fish rice. We'll use it in something. And then we decided to like mix some salmon with it. So then like Denny was like playing with that and he put like some tahini in that. But I like it with onion and grated carrot because it makes it a little bit lighter. So the same thing here, a little bit of salt. A couple little drops here. And you're just gonna do this. So the umi vinegar and the salt give the red onion a nice little pop of color. This is another dish that we'll keep for like a good week in your refrigerator. And if you want to get like something a little bit more rich with a little bit more substance to it, and you're missing something like tuna salad, you could open like a a can of salmon. Like the sockeye is what we use. We buy that from a company called Odaleaf. Odaleaf. They come to the farmer's market. It's salmon. They fish in Alaska, and their fish is like very, very fresh, very like. But they Ottoolith. Ottoleaf. Ottoleaf. We get like these cases of like just like salmon, because you can always make a pasta, like pasta with pesto. Maybe he wants fish, maybe I don't, so he could add a little bit of that canned salmon to it, or pasta with like just cauliflower and capers and onions. He could add salmon to that. So like I might want a primavera and he might want, like a little more kick. So this is delicious with salmon in it. That's another good sporting event sandwich to take with you. It's like not an odd thing, and people really don't know that it's tofu. They just like think that it's like mayonnaise in there and other stuff. And I put some celery in it too. Oops. So just like think of what would go in, like like some type of like egg salad or whatever. I guess I don't know what goes in. What does go in egg salad? Does anybody know?
Celery, onion.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never eaten a hard-boiled egg in my life. Oh, I despise them. That's just like this, like rubber. I've never eaten a deviled egg. I come from Pennsylvania, Dutch country, but I've never eaten a red beet egg.
Ottoleaf you can only get at the farmer's market?
I think so. Sometimes, like they'll do local deliveries for a certain quantity, but you need to spend at least $100. I mean, we've been buying them for a while, so usually I just like go to the farmer's market and catch them, like there. There's a fish truck in Ithaca that Nathan uses, but I don't know the name. It's a truck that comes in with fresh fish. We're spoiled though. We have that fresh catch place at the farmer's market. They bring stuff in that was caught like that morning, or the early morning, or like the night before. And that's like flounder or cod. And then we have Odaleaf too. So this is the same thing. Just gonna take that like that. And I'll just like put this over here. So now we'll do Mediterranean saute. You can do a lot of vegetables like this. You can even do like bok choy or napa like this if you want to make it more rich. If I had some garlic and you wanted garlic, I could put that in. So you just start with some water in a pot. And I'll clean that meat a little bit. My utensil. So I have the broccoli cut.
I don't think.
You can do like bigger pieces like this. You can do smaller pieces. These are the pieces that were a little smaller. I separate them. I don't cook them together. I know some people just like throw them all in there. I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's better to like separate it a little bit, because they do cook in different times. But this is another to-go-to thing. You can make it at night. You can make it for lunch. You don't have to add oil to it. If you just want to like kind of steam like this. Whoever steamed the vegetables today, they did a really good job. So I personally like the bigger pieces, especially if you have a salad that you're serving. And you could cook this as long as you want to or as short as you want to. But you're just kind of putting this in here. And yeah, you know, people say, no, do you really do that? No, this isn't just for show. This is kind of how I cook at home. Gina watches me a lot. She's over at her house fairly often, so do we do the little bowls? We do the little, even Denny does like the little prep bowls. We just do kind of like our thing. Not just for show. A little bit more water in there, so you could do cauliflower, you could do broccoli rabe, you could do Brussels sprouts. Those you have to take the bottom off or cut them in half, or if you want them whole, take the bottom off and cut an X in the bottom. That can be done with a little sesame oil. When I use sesame oil, I do like to use a little bit of shoyu, just because I think my feeling is when you do sesame oil and you just do salt, you get that overpowering taste of oil, right? So we kind of get in debates about this at home, where and then I'm told, no, I just don't like this like oil, or I just don't like it. That's not true. It blends better with a little bit, even if it's just like a drop or two. It just like mixes better, and when it mixes better, it's gonna mix better with you too.
Now, when recipes call for corn oil, it's not really possible to get corn.
I haven't seen organic corn oil in a whole lot of years. I don't use the grapeseed oil, or I don't use like the canola oil. I've used like safflower. I don't really fry like that so much anymore. So now we've got a nice color on there, right? And we can put the little pieces here. Cooks relatively quickly. We're just gonna like cover this up again. Oh, you wanna see?
Oh, yeah.
So you have all the heads up, right, facing upwards? The top.
I might have some of them facing upward. I just kind of like put them around in a ring, just like nishime. When you like place the stuff in a nishime thing, I mean, the trick to getting that dish to taste better is actually like packing the pot and using the right size pot for the quantity of vegetables that you have. Our sweet potato like smushed a little bit, but I guess that was just the texture of that particular sweet potato. It still tasted really good. And you really want to like pack that pot, but there's not like a whole lot of space in there, because it's like the energetic nature of that dish is like long steaming, so energy rising up, yin energy rising up, yang energy coming down, mixes in the middle, and then it creates that settling down effect. So that's the effect that we get, and then it brings out carbohydrate and protein aspect of the vegetable. So that's why it creates such lasting energy. And I think that when you pack that pot like that, still the lid needs to fit really, really well, but when you like fill it to like its capacity, you're just getting more of that. It enhances that energetic quality, makes your dish taste sweeter and better. It's not necessarily cooking it longer. It smells almost done. So then we just like do like, this is a very nice pour spout. One little lap around. Do just a little bit. Just a small amount. And take the top, fold the bottom into the top. So if you wanted to pull this at this point, you could. If you like things a little bit more crunchy, if you like your vegetables cooked a little bit longer with a sweeter taste to them, then I would definitely recommend just putting the lid on and steaming a little bit longer. It's as simple as that. Cauliflower tastes better when it's cooked a little bit more through. Same with like the Romanesco that's in there. Broccoli rabe, it's tricky. You just don't want to like, you don't want to undercook it, but you don't want to overcook it. Like I said, you go to like these restaurants and then it gets like all stringy and everything like that, and it's just, it's going to be that way because it's overcooked. And then I complain. So this is done. And we'll cut the flame. And the cleanup of this is just give it a rinse, right? And give it a wipe, and we're done. And then we can, now, I do not always pour this off into like a dish. My preference is to maybe like take this out and actually this is not ideal. It's a little bit wider, so if you put it in something too deep, what's gonna happen is like some of the stuff that's on the bottom is gonna continue. Yeah, it's gonna continue. There's a flat one? Oh, you wanna grab the flat one? Yeah, a more flat one or slightly rounded bowl is like a little bit more ideal. That's actually like pretty good. I could use that. You know what? I'm gonna use this, Faina, because it'll get. This will give a better photo op. And I, you know, you can have, you're gonna get a little bit of the oil.
Do you want that plate too, Susan?
No, we'll just put this on here because he can then take a photo of it and it'll be clear. Oh, this actually might not be big enough to do. Like this is just like a very, very simple dish, and yeah, that's probably too big of a bowl to like photo op it well. So here you are going to use like a little bit of olive oil, or you could do water a little bit first. And where are the onions in the back of you? So we have a whole lot of onions. You're making a stock, basically, is what you're doing for this particular dish. I'm eating this dish in different ways. Yeah, I'll just use this to use it. I've eaten this dish with like some, like in Portugal, they'll have like these big prawns. They'll have like all kind, well not langostinos, but they'll have all kinds of stuff, mussels sometimes in it. But I'm not like a real big like shellfisher. And shrimp makes me itch. so I kind of try not to eat that. We'll just like put that in there. So pretend it's white. We don't have any red wine, do we? I actually put a little red wine in here sometimes. No, it won't work the same. If we were doing saffron, you could put white wine in, because like risotto is made with wine. You put olive oil in, you saute the garlic and the rice, and then the next ingredient is white wine. So anything, you know, like the rule of thumb is if you're not willing to drink it, don't cook with it. Because you can have a glass for you and a little nip for like
And then
pot. Yeah, so it's
know what you're making.
it all works. I'm just gonna add a little bit more water to this so we don't have any. I'm not even gonna measure my water. I mean, eventually I will, but to start, I'm just not gonna do that. And it can cook on its own, so we can move over to this part. So these are tomatoes that I have from my house. Some that were from this year. You don't really need a lot of tomatoes. You can get like one of those jars like this, which would be like 2 cups of tomatoes. Jovial does the, but also Buonatura comes in a thing. I like the Jovial ones in the jar better. And those are San Marzanos. These are just like little yellow, I don't even know, and it's very juicy, so I'm just gonna like, so you got like the meat of the tomato in there like that. So I saw a YouTube thing, because every year when I grow things, like I have to like YouTube 1,000,001 things, because I get like probably every like organic garden predator known to mankind in my backyard. Squirrels, possums.
People.
In your
Bugs.
backyard in the city, there's squirrels and possums?
Definitely squirrels, but like we had possums last year, but the cats got them.
Really?
Yeah.
Baby possums?
Oh, no.
Well, I think there was one big one, but then like I think one somebody may have poisoned, which is sad because they actually kill other rodents and they don't carry diseases. I googled different things and it was saying that you can freeze tomatoes, and when you freeze them, you can very easily just remove the thing. Otherwise, you'd have to like X a hole in the bottom and steam it for a bit.
Well, how about blanching? Just
You can do that, but this is like so much easier. And then you can use them when you want to use them. You don't have to like make everything at once. This little stem here. So this is an Amish paste tomato, so it doesn't have like a whole lot of, like this is an heirloom, like yellow kind of variety. I couldn't tell you what it was. They were supposed to be this big, but mine grew to be like this big. Like this year I thought I planted orange tomatoes. They all turned red. Except for the ones that I gave my parents, theirs turned orange. So yeah, I don't know. And I actually labeled them this year. Sometimes I forget to label them, so it's just like you don't know what's gonna come up.
Where are the tomatoes gonna go? Is that gonna go?
That's gonna go in the fish rice,
Oh,
because
in the
like
fish
the majority of the people, the tomato people won the election.
Do you want these little tiny cherry tomatoes?
You want to pass them over? Maybe we'll use them. Maybe we'll like put them in the salad. We shall see. I don't know.
Those you froze as well.
I didn't freeze those guys. These are. You don't really need a lot of tomatoes. It's more just like a hint of color. You probably could actually even like combine saffron with tomato. I think that would actually be good. It's not something that's usually done, but I have seen. There are places that do that. It's a thought. Yeah, I think I was gonna grab 2 other like tomatoes I had on the shelf today, but I forgot them. Oops, there's the little thing. Yeah, some people will eat that. I don't like the shells. Unless it's like, I'm eating it raw in a salad, but I don't like the shells when they're like cooked in something because it's a shell and it's chewy. So you could do chopped tomatoes in this dish too, because I think Jovial also has like the diced tomatoes. The diced tomatoes would be like way easier than the whole tomatoes. Something in here, maybe.
What about Eden chopped tomatoes? They also sell it in a jar.
Oh, you know what? I've never tried them. It's just a matter of like what's available to me at the time. Yeah, these I grew these. Aren't they? I grew these too. Aren't they cute? Look how cute they are. Yeah, I grew all those. Okay, so I'll put a little bit of salt in here. Hit it with a little bit of salt.
That's right.
And then I'll put the leeks in here too. So we have 2 packets of rice. You want to get that out for me? Obviously, if you're doing shellfish, you don't need to like that. Gives a lot of flavor. We just put the tomatoes in. So guys, seriously, do you want to go off chart? Yeah, do you want to be adventurous and go off chart?
What is that?
Do we want to like mix a little bit of the saffron together with like the tomato? I think it will work.
Yeah, you can do that.
I think it will. I've seen it. let's do that. Let's go off chart. We have 5 cups of rice. Wait, ooh, 6. Okay, so that means we need at least 12 cups of water, if not more. We're probably gonna need more like 15 cups of water. The one thing you wanna do when you measure this, and the only way you can screw up your dish is if you don't have enough liquid in. So the idea is to make a stock and have your liquid set, like before you add any rice. If you don't do that, it's just not gonna be like very good. How's the fish doing? You have any water, right?
Yeah, it's got water, yeah.
So, we're gonna measure. So we have 6 cups. I want at least 12, if not, I might want at least 15. I'll tell you what I have. I have liquid in there, but when I go to like get ready to like really finalize the whole thing, I measure from there. And if there's extra, that's not a problem. And now you're gonna need a boatload of salt. So we'll just like,
You don't soak it, right?
the saffron, I don't ever soak it. It's usually a little bit more dry than what this is. Like the saffron I have at home is like pretty dry. It comes in little tubes like at the farmer's market. I have some that the powder saffron is like really nice. That you can get from, I think you can get that from oliveoillovers.com too, some of the Spanish saffron that's. Really salted. I mean, you're just gonna need like so much salt in this. It's like not even funny because that. I know. Because it's so much liquid. It's just like, and like I said, if you were cooking like other fishes in there, because like I've seen like like mussels in there. I've seen like like bigger shrimps, like the prawns, the little shrimps. I've seen different things. I've had like octopus rice there too. That's like pretty good. What? Octopus rice is good. So you know what? I'm just gonna do this for now. So what we'll do while that is, if anybody hears that or sees that boil, then we want to lower the flame. Let's come back for tofu cheese for salad. Somebody else can do that, but I need this right now. This will do for the thing. So when you make your tofu cheese, you're gonna crumble. Can you maybe slide over? Oh, you can. He moved. And crumble and sprinkle at the same time. I'm just being cautious here because Eden's way more salty than the other one. There's light tahini in the cabinet. Can you grab that? That needs to be mixed up. A little tahini to it. Is that okay if we put the rest of these little tomatoes in the salad?
Is there an already open one? Or
No, that's the one we need to open. So you're gonna need to like take a knife and like mix it really well. But be careful so that you don't like spill any of the oil.
Is it from Moss or?
The Kabbalah, we mail order that. We gotta mail order that.
It's interesting, in Whole Foods they sell only black, but never white.
I've never seen the black in Whole Foods.
Yeah, I know.
You know, each one is different, just like Mom's has different things too. This. I mean, we can use this at lunch tomorrow, unless you really want to taste it tonight. But, you know, like we will have kind of a lot of food. It's pretty. So you can just do a little bit of carrot, or you can do more if you want. Did you mix it all the way down to the bottom?
Yeah.
You really won't. Okay, and I need the olive oil too, please.
What did you mix into this?
This is just like carrot. I said you can do a little less carrot, but it was there, so I just like used it.
Was the tofu oil, or can you use?
No, it's like as I season it with, it's already cooked, you know. So like I think that whole like, I think yeah, you can do this. Okay.
Now you use Kavala tahini for certain things and then tohum for other things? Is
I like
that-
both. I for this I like the Kavala better. It's kind of like rich. This one more. But you could use the tohum in this. It's just going to be like the Kavala makes better dressings. Tohum is better just to like eat on steamed bread. So this. It does get a little bit of salt and pepper. And the salt kind of like brings the olive oil to life, so. Like this, just, we're just sprinkling very ever so lightly. Grab the pepper for me, please. I can actually smell the pepper is coming out. God knows how old these peppercorns are.
What are you doing, celery?
Yep, there's celery in there. And then you can give it a taste, and you might need a little bit more ume vinegar. Like if you're putting salmon in it, that's gonna like make it a little bit saltier.
Looks like
Just not used to using this ume vinegar, so it can be a little saltier. Like one of the kids' favorite things, like our granddaughter and Elisa, it usually helps her. They'll make like tofu with seasoned with ume vinegar and stuff like they'll hollow out cucumbers and put that in there. That's like Sienna's specialty dish. You could add mustard to it. That would give it a. You know what would give it a zip? Capers and caper juice. So when I do salmon salad, I usually put like some capers in it. Use a different finger. Them capers make everything better. I love them. Yeah. It's good on like rolls or good on, it's good on steamed bread. Your dad would probably put it on a cracker.
No, she doesn't use crackers.
He doesn't.
Oh, come on. man. Steamed bread. Isn't that what
No crackers?
No crackers.
Wow.
Now it has enough salt. You know, my dad would put it on a cracker.
She's good at cracker bread.
Okay, so that's done. So we need the cilantro.
That must be a pretty old light texture. You wouldn't see
Yeah, women tend to be affected more by non-salt things, where guys, but we can eat more sweets, where guys are affected more by sweets. It makes them like more weak. So,
Sweets make you weak?
sweets make you more weak, yeah.
Say that one more time for Ryan.
Too many sweets make you weak.
Well, it depends what kind, right? I mean,
Well, good quality sweet, but like sugar and things like that in the form of sugar, dairy, whatever, candy, you know.
there's so many
Sorry.
nice non-probiotic sweets you can have. Yeah.
So,
Where's the
you grab-
cilantro?
I think this, where did we put the cilantro? It was in a grocery bag, but where did it get to? You wanna get it, give it a rinse.
I think it's a lot of door.
Yeah, give it a rinse. Does anybody hate cilantro here?
I'm not here.
Are you going through the show?
Do you want me to take some out for you, or?
It's fine. I can eat this with it, but I don't like it.
You don't like a whole lot of it, or?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those things, it's another one of
it's
those
it's
things.
the smell and taste that I really. I love the look. Very nice, but
So we're just gonna like wash the rice, and I'm gonna try to wash it. And this is gonna require a whole lot of water because there's a lot of rice. So it's a little bit more clear, so I'm taking a lot of the starch out of it. So you can see this, it's like very chalky in color. And I just kind of like take my hand around. We use a lot of cilantro in Portugal.
They say it takes heavy metals out of the body.
Bring it
Maybe
on.
that's why we like it so much.
We'll make, I don't know.
I think it's just good.
Huh? I like it too, and I love it in guacamole and,
I have a nice video of me breathing through my mouth.
you can put your mask on.
You don't have to do this, so I can take over.
No, I'm being very.
You're growing
I'm being
as a human
over-
being.
I don't mind it, but
No, it's a low boil, I turned it down. I'm gonna,
Yeah, consider different. Something about
I turned it down. So this reduced already, you see the liquid reduced, so I think we have to add a little bit more. I'm gonna add more water, you can see where the line is. So we'll just take it up a little bit, maybe a little bit more, Michael. Oh, it's not. It's cayenne, cayenne. Really delicious right now. This is really good. This combination is really well We're gonna add our salad stuff. So all we need to do is like get ready for like the thing. What time do we have?
it's 5:45.
You're not doing too bad. If that comes to a boil, we can add our rice. But you want to put the lid on it, maybe? You put the lid on it, you and Michael. There we go.
Every phone. Ho ho ho.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you lift it higher, it comes out easier. Taste it. It's nice oil. Very nice. And then this just gets moved over. Yeah, so we can use fresh lemon again if we want to. In this. See, it looks like you're putting a lot of ingredients to this, but like when you're in something this big, it can take it.
Are those your own bowls that you had to find, Susan?
These are my bowls. These are the school's bowls.
They were the school? Oh, the
Well,
school
yeah,
bowls.
yeah.
Okay.
I keep some of them at home because I said that, you know, like when I cook for, and when we ran the mentorship program, we ran that from our home. Yeah, you want to squeeze some in? I'll take the whole thing.
What is that?
A lemon.
Lemon. Oh.
Okay, just wait. because we have iceberg in this time, so like iceberg's a little bit more succulent, or the last time it was like just like an arugula and an endive, like bitter green, so it may not need as much.
Now, what do you
Just a little bit more,
typically,
go ahead.
what do you typically put flat leaf Italian parsley in? Because that's so nutritious.
Flat leaf you can use the same as, flat leaf you can use the same as curly parsley. It's a good question, so I'm just gonna,
Does it have like chlorophyll that cleans out your blood?
that'll work.
You wouldn't
You can
chop
put it
it
with
into a
fish.
salad.
I don't usually pop it in salads, but you can put it on fish. I love parsley, like pastas with like red onion and chopped parsley. You can add a caper to that or not.
It's a small, it's a baby.
Yeah, I'll let you do that. So you're just, yeah, you can use my knife if you want to because it's like a good staff.
Fresh ones.
Oh, almost. We're gonna let that cook for like 10 minutes.
The rice just cooked.
The rice. Then we're gonna lift the lid, and then we're gonna like add the fish. Let that in there for like 5 minutes. You know what? Because it's ling cod. Because sometimes like bigger chunks of codfish, if you have like really big pieces, we've used like some different fishes before. Cod works really well, and this particular type of cod works like super well. I wouldn't use a halibut or anything like that. It's just too like dry of a fish. My favorite way to prepare halibut is either pan fry it or on like the grill with lots of olive oil and fresh lemon and capers and parsley. The more simple sometimes like the better. And then usually I make like a lemon caper sauce to top like some fishes off and whatnot.
Would you use flounder or salt for that?
You possibly could use sole or flounder would work, but it's a little flakier too. Like the codfish is like more fatty, or it is. The codfish is high in protein, so it's just like kind of more like that rich, like you know, like thick, kind of like aspect to it. So it just seems to work. Okay, we got a boil. Woo! Woo! Okay, so we're gonna put this in. So we've got like a serious rolling boil here, right? And what I'm gonna do is I have the rice here. Try not to splash myself.
Are you adding the fish now?
Not yet. That gets, because if you add it too soon, it would overcook. The same thing, if you are gonna use a shellfish, you would want to add that in the last like 2 or 3 minutes because overcooked shrimp is just yucky. Or a scallop that's overcooked, that could be like kind of pretty like rubbery and
So how many
you know like
minutes
gross.
before it
Calamari would be good in here. You could put like squid in here. Yeah, calamari would be nice. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil. And I'm gonna hit it with a little bit more salt.
What did you just add?
I just added olive oil right now and rice. And then I'm gonna take my wooden utensil and I'm just gonna go, I don't need a flame deflector really because there's so much liquid here. But I'm just gonna try to do this to make sure it's not, you know, like sticking. Okay, and then ideally I would like this to come back to a boil, but because our stove is just, you know, not abundantly cooperative, we'll just wait. So let me just, usually I wait till it comes to a boil and then I cover it. I think because of the quantity we'll probably be okay like this, because usually the larger quantity can get heavy if it overcooks. So it almost like takes, like you can scale back on sometimes like the cooking time. So we'll just like, I'd rather, I can always cook it longer later. So I'm gonna turn this down on low, or right there if I can.
Susan, if you were just cooking 1 cup of rice, more or less, how much water would you be putting in?
Like 3 or even 4, yeah. Yeah, I mean, just for the two of you, I guarantee you you're gonna want more than 1 cup of rice because this tastes really good the second day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even when it like, you know, soaks up all the juice, and the rice soaks up everything. Like everybody on the face of the planet likes this the second day. I always have to make extra because everybody brings a container and wants to take it home with them. You've had it like the second day, and like he loves it, and like you just put a little water in the pan and then just like heat it just like you would like if you're warming up a risotto, or if you're warming up you know, like just to be real careful that you don't burn it. Let's see. Yeah, see, this is sucking that like up like right away. Yeah, that's
That pie was actually good.
yeah. This is still a little crunchy, the rice. Let's just like put the fish in.
Yeah, that's the moment.
Now, how long will you leave the fish in? Like 5 minutes?
About that, not even. It cook. This cooks so like quickly. This is probably cooked already.
Cook it this way.
It's like that
I'm
fast.
doing it the other way, and I was like, is it done, isn't it done? But here, you can pretty much.
Please thank Denny for donating this fish
Yeah.
because he caught it. Yeah, he and our friend Misha
Is it,
go
was it the
fishing in
boat?
there. Sometimes Gina goes.
They were on the boat or?
Yeah, they go on boats.
Yeah,
Out of Brielle. Do you know Brielle?
Probably it's next door.
Brielle, New Jersey. Yeah, I've seen that.
Now I'm putting the thicker pieces in first. See, if you have a thicker, heavier piece, that ideally you would want to like.
Thicker.
But it cooks like real fast. Put the fish juice in there.
Most of them I take some, and then we can put in the cilantro.
Some of this as a finishing oil. That's like the really good olive oil.
Oh, you're adding a little tiny bit more salt.
Because I added more oil.
Oh my gosh.
This is like, all we want to do is just like, I give this a little turn. If you look at this, this is like almost completely done. But we want to eat it kind of right away.